I think tonight I want to share with you unapplaudable pieces. That is, pieces nobody could conceivably applaud. Why? Because I've realized that applause is very dangerous. Applause kills. But then again, so is the opposite. Okay, from Band to Ghost. This is not a poem. This was part of a play I wrote around Biko and whatnot. And the piece, as I said, is called Band to Ghost, a stream of black unconsciousness. The Bantu of the title, in the first instance, refers to Stephen Biko. In the second instance, it refers to this. The population register struggled to find ways of labeling people like me. One, they said native, they put native on your dompas. And then that, got out of fashion. So they looked around and said, what else? Okay, Bantu. I know my isiZulu, one Muntu, two Bantu. But I'd be alone, they say Bantu. Fine, okay. Now that brings me to the crime against humanity that Bantu education was. Bantu education told me that one glass, singular, two glasses, plural. The population register people would see me walking down the street solo, unaccompanied, just one person, and they say, oh, there comes a plural. Okay. Anyway, all right. Political theory, an introduction. If more blood had been shed to get out of oppression, less lives would be going down under liberation. Bantu goes and lecture lips at the monkey parade. Fela says only a pervert would want any struggle to continue. Aluta is more grief than war cry. It powders dry ducts. No bologna or fat cake with acha, sucker for us little suckers. It is ground bones in their delicatessen, dough for the dollar scheme. They preserve fetuses in jars, in exclusive bars. It strengthens the liquor. The buffer bone separates the exploited from the used to be abused, now junior partners to abusers. The difference between those who tuck their buttocks and those who keep a tight ass is liposuction politics. Natives Incorporated and Kafur CC and Bantus PTY Ltd and all slurs fomented. Dressed up in suit and die, it is each one, bleach one. The truth about our liberation, we keep uterine. Born of a one who hadn't yet lost her hymen and was not the Magdalene sold on the common market, but even before the seed burst, she was already in a casket, and yet it's called a natural phenomenon. We hear it from the oracular, Sekas crying out for foreign investment, got his hot air hard and fast, bound in concrete. Syphilitic theories of the murder stink and the amniotic equated. It is Mr. Legislature Igniter, that's Zuma, so hardcore, he will piss in court, but only in his pants. The warped defeatist with ambitions to the palace generate almighty mortal afflictions. Mere thought is a plot against the empire. To make your fortunes, you need kill your senses. Thus the torrent of brain diseases were surrounded by the stupid and the insipid armies, reinforced by sick affiliations, wearing palpitating hearts for amulets. Across the panorama of trauma, they sow expansionism and reap a deadly harvest. The yield of the oil fields, life fluids cascade in metal containers down the freeway. The walking Christian martyrs play the song Black Arm Back. We are here to stay in our sin land. Behind the reptile prattle, did you hear the brain cells rattle? Poetic as nailing bigotry to a burning tree. Storms of change blowing up and down the silky meadow. They add the yeast where violence ferments. Pavlov tosses meat scraps over the fence into the starvation settlement. The illegal immigrant concentration camp is run by a dominatrix. She's a whip, ball and chain fetishist. They feed the scarred and squashed testicles to the Alsatians. The rest are proudly South Africans. They hold the dream hostage, debased to where it's best erased. But we sang revolution. What was begun never terminated. Perpetual is to what we're fated. Perpetual revolution. Okay. Sharp. I've got my timekeeper off. I think I've actually overstayed my welcome. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You know, here's the thing. You go to all these institutions of higher education and whatever, and what people ask you is, oh, this poetry thing, how do you do it? How do you start? Do you start with a word? Do you start with an image? It's all cool, really. So I wrote this thing to explain so that when somebody asks me this, I'll just give it to them and say, okay, that's my explanation about how. It begins with sound. No little bob-peeping snitch, but I came in, blowing horns for Hondo against these Jericho walls of ghettoization, cause in the beginning was the acoustics, a weird horde hiding in the keyboards. Thus it is earth belly-bound bass and rim shots sprung from electric drum clouds. A guitar line that's a reed riding black lightning. Organic sound, what I am stringing. It bounced back on interplanetary sonic springs. Grandpapa Khoisan cave, the echo chamber. Who cares what? My voice is timber. I'm the Ra that came before the sun. The fire soul of Fanon's children. The purulent soul that got the reverend chicken scratch and run. There, where we end beginnings. The second chapter of the book in ashes. The Bavino sermon on the Monster Mount. A black heart Bantu ghost talking rain to white heart. It begins with sound. My verbs, the Val River reverb, flow like the main artery burst. Nouns bounce off the Karoo moon. Body canoe mind rides Highfeld to Plateland. Multipolar and polyrhythmatic aligned. Solar systematic beam poet rays with the desert sun. Public address cable melt from hissing volcanic tones of skeleton coasted, gold dusted, diamond busted, blood, brain, flesh, and bones as I rest my veins upon the Khalakha sands. My scriptures, picture switches for my sound wounds, psyche bound. It begins with sound. What's news comes a locust plague in shiny shoes while I hum grimy blues of abandoned farmsteads and abandonment in balm spreads. Follow the poem's riverine threads. They are seminal threads leading from here back to Ratzi Setlago. For, as Bosman said, Africa is the genius among the continents. I embrace this. Drink inspiration from the number one chalice. Her blood provides my ink. Her wretched body is the debauch rendered inanimate my canvas. Salvaged after the colonial cannibal feast. Not expediency politics or the dependency economics, drama sellers romanticize. Ramasela we. Ngwana wal. Mothelele di sankomote. Orlando West, Hemistris Megistus working the alchemic out of waters of slaughter. Dynamic, futuristic, not stuck in romantic past, still told bad kick against stagnant pregnancy. It begins with sound. It begins with sound. Got the microphone wire mesh soaking from centuries of bleeding I'm bringing. Vocal cords, magma bubbling word. Some use it for hate. Me, it is to self-dedicate. Mental construction working emotional hydraulics. Flip it cyberitic and arid, stormy and temperate, fluid in flight, both outward bound and meteorite. The verger in a 16-bar measure, a cranial hidden treasure, rhymes verdant as the climactic lay of my prostituted poet's republic. Blessed and cursed to the page I come amniotic. Mutant, fallen off the literary conveyor belt. They milk the system. I've gone trans-lactation. Need nothing corporate. No transaction to feed optimal consciousness. No freestyling in golden chains. I go specializing in molding brains. Bareback riding senses. Sipping deluded pretenses out of denuded veins. It begins with sound. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Okay. All right, this is probably the last time I set foot on this stage because I've grown old on the Poetry Africa Road. So I might as well do a little retrospective, even though people might be sick of this shit, Like I said, I love MCs. I actually do, I've drawn a lot of inspiration from hip hop. Some friends of mine, people who are my age, have said maybe it's time you started drawing inspiration from hip hop. I don't know. Okay. Kwaz and Afura Khan and whatever, can close their eyes because, what's this, man? I've heard this shit so many times. There's a group of hardcore lyricists, beautiful MCs called Base Mental Platform. They broke up, and out of that, two of them went off and created something called the Pharaoh Express. And then they broke into the geriatric home one time and dragged me kicking and screaming out because they wanted their grandfather on a track with them. And I wrote this thing. Okay. Jazz, rock, rap, and the blues for the Pharaoh Express. I come in, drowning, howling wolves in muddy waters, clowning hip-hop lambs to lyrical slaughters, no mutton, hand on the red button press, go ahead, let's go, climbing the beast's hindquarters. Profuse how I bleed this jazz, rock, rap, and the blues. I King Fawcett cause lynch mobs got smart bombs now. It got too slick at the news. Set the heartbeat loose. This, that, Pefeni Station identification, state of mind, Orlando, the worst Bantu ghost in the machine, that runaway slaves, para on the Pharaoh Express. I picked Biko's brains off the wall to write this. Dread thesis against these power-mad feces. Touch stratospheres, torch Castro's fears, cheers to Davashe, never got his share. Satan AK for McKay, capital's got to pay. I bring wet sack over the head music, interrogation lyrics like Louis got Eric Clapton, this bludgeon. Verbatins, cranial percussion, rattle brain cells like that blood boiling in that human kettle. Pour it over your snow-white battles like Jimmy strumming electrified intestines. Add it up like Mongezi calling Mbizo. Never be another Johnny. If it ain't dumb, buzamdlele, keep it for your honey, sonny. Cause I'll go off beat, off track, out of time, and still come black on the one for the money. Reparation talking. I rap it, age, brown, cleaver to the mic cord. Raise the rod, cause here rhymes the God. Bring you no more lullabies like Ponzi grenade. Nyamazan. Before the revolution's abortion was in session, I was coming off the thunder sound, rent and railroad gunning. Between Skull Mountain and Blood River running, I hit the dead street rocking, Cecil tree, Makarov cocking. Your plagues are golden, mine are body bolden with a horn, going down Babylon. Gallow to the gallows, EMI has got to die. Okay, all right. 7, all right, my last piece, apparently, all right. Yeah, this one, I love it so much because, yeah, man, it was written for my beloved boy called the Lymphatic Tabs, and the guy's real name is plain old middle of the road Tabi Somo Hapelo. But who's ever heard of an MC with a name like, Lesego Rampolokeng? Fuck that, Chuck D. KRS-One. Okay. Mission and fatigue, this is where I go out. Okay, I said earlier here that we go to these Germanic countries and they don't allow you to do your shit like this, You stand up there, here's the audience, fine. Okay, bit there. And you go, blah, 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 blah. I said, bit there. They jump in there, they say, Ubazetsu. They have to translate. So you stand there like an idiot while you translate your one line. Then they say, and you go on and you do your second line. Oh, but, one day I got so pissed off with this thing, and I was like, okay. I ran Radic, Chandrimatic, Liberation, Emphatic, and the Lymphatic Generation, Skadang, the Bomber Clatistic. Check it. Translate, please. All right. Mission emphatic for tabs. I ran Radic, Chandrimatic, Liberation, Emphatic, and the Lymphatic Generation, Skadang, the Bomber Clatistic. Check it. The wretched, thresh and bleed, and rich teeth, gnash and feed, bloated, hot air-headed balloon floated. They candy coated how the Mendy drowned in the witch's brew. Nothing new. Shaga, 4-toed spear, portentous, the cold, murderous, rain, the affluence, obscene, grab and run syndrome says to each a kingdom in their own back garden. Perversion aroused by naked starvation, they douse the poverty stench in perfume and clandestine clean skeletons, come off necrotic in skin and bone fire dances, but the hunger flame burning the aliment is no paranoia wrench. Ask the Babylon wench about cock-eye head explode and brain become a calm drench on the backbench in parliament. Iron Radic, Chandrimatic, Liberation Emphatic and the Emphatic Generation Skarang, the Bamba Clatistic, check it. Take it and vision this barbaric mission, our doom, a life requisition. Backtrack to Christian crimes, no inquisition, but check how the black monkey man mimes. But about face can't deface, debase, retrace the race back to base. Sick blackness invocations, conscious forgetfulness, a willful turn away like that dog is a stray. This bitch is domestic with an itch for dick to come what may the first day. Workers of the world unite, midday, we flow natural. Check the contextual. One text into the next so tight, the limp pimp can't play. But Hara warrior come out and fight. The Malcolm X chop and the whole cop crack and no glue can stick it back to black. Mental reflex. I reflect and I reflex mental on Fanon. Not doctrine or gospel or golden God voice and all, but start sound, black sounds, Biko echoes, Panther, Dread, Vision, Liberation, Mission States, and Station, Free Times, Revolutions, Dictates. I hit and run with it. Let none beat me down once, because 10 times I make them bounce. Unchristian action, ill health intention, all pain. I drain the lymphatic for gain of the lymphatic generation. Iron Radic, Chandrimatic, Liberation, Emphatic, and the lymphatic generation, Skarang, the Bomber Class History. Check it. There's a rubber dub in the hot north suburb, and blood fills the rough tub. Manicure can't cure the manic. So fist clench around checks, carjacks and heart attacks. Lick eyes dreams, stick eyes screams down the drain. The stink in the sink makes you think so pink. You ease the conscience drain with champagne. Brain locked behind contact lenses and electric fences, scared to make contact with your senses. You drink the menses of the dead. Bank slavery bonds, cause it's fish in your ponds. Think yourself made, cause you shank the maid. But you were not laid, that was a raid, power on parade. But still prophecy never bend, the word forever stand. No tongue nil, but yell tell down Capitol Hill. Ring the death toll and sing the death call. The Ramstar renter rage rise and spill over the walls. Spear point, deflate balls, bouncing down the power hall. Iron Radic, Chandrimatic, Liberation, Emphatic, and the Emphatic Generation, Skarang, the Bamba Clatistic. Check it out.